Hi, folks. My name is Pete Lewis. This is Claire Church. We are owners of the Muse Performance Space in Lafayette, Colorado, where we usually have music events going on. And obviously, right now, there's nothing going on. And we're reaching out to our fellow musicians to see how they're doing, how they're holding up during this pandemic, and get a little insight where they are and perhaps what inspired them to become musicians and various questions that we'll just engage with them. Our guest today, this afternoon, is Ben Markley, who we've known for quite a few years, just a fantastic piano player.
I just want to say
oh.
we knew Ben Markley before, he was Ben Markley.
That's right. Oh, yeah. So Ben, I don't know if you remember this.
I remember Polarity, man, rehearsing in your basement.
Yeah. And thank you so much for all your great music on that. And you just anyway. Well, we'll get into it. Can you just play a tune to start us off?
Yeah, sure. I should tell you that one of the things in this pandemic that has been the most frustrating is that, so I was due for a piano tuning like right before things shut down, and obviously that stopped. So I got this app and I've been trying my best, but as you can hear, I'm not very good at it, so bear with me.
All right.
Yeah, all right. You have such a nice touch, and it really looks effortless. Like it feels like all those kind of injuries that piano players get, like you are not in any way susceptible to that because you just have such a light way of getting around the keyboard.
Oh, thanks. I've come close at some times to having some problems, and I've always been lucky to kind of seek out or be around people who really kind of know, and so it's definitely something that I'm aware of, And I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but sometimes, like, just a stage in my life with kids and the job, I'm not always playing as much, and so I really want to make sure when I sit down, like, I do it right, so I don't, because I hope to do this for a while longer.
I would think.
Yeah.
How old are your kids now?
They are 9 and 3.
Wow.
9. Wow.
Wow, this is 9, which I was trying to think when, I don't have that record in front of me, but it was like, were we like 2009, 2010? When did that come out?
I think it was
think
2009, but we recorded it in 2009 and 2010.
Okay, so Max was born like I think 2010. So yeah, man.
Our son is 31, right?
Okay,
He'll be 32 in June. So
wow. And Pat played on that.
he did.
Yeah. And, you know, he was kind of a baby player back then, but
Yeah.
it all started with me and him saying, hey, let's do a CD. And then somehow we got directed to you, which I was so glad. I think you were getting your doctorate at CU.
Right.
And man, you just brought this whole depth to it. It was wonderful. And then since then, now you're professor of jazz studies at University of Wyoming.
That's right.
Can you tell us a little bit how that's going?
Sure. Well, so I worked as an adjunct, I think, starting in either 2008 or 2009 at the University of Wyoming. And so I've been working there in some capacity since then. I think 2013 I was offered like a full-time but a 1-year contract, and they did that. I did three years in a row of that. And kind of finally the last year I said, you know, I'm going to start looking for jobs. So I did, and I got some interviews, and then it seemed like they had a hiring freeze or something up here, and that stopped. And so I interviewed for this job and got it, and have been the director of jazz studies since, I guess, 2016, I think. So yeah, we've got 2 big bands and 3 combos and a full curriculum of jazz classes, and I'm really excited. We just got a jazz major passed, and so fall 2020 will be our first go with that. So excited to share that music with the folks up here.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
It seems like you've just done so many great things in a short period of time with the university, and just on your own too, referring to your big band.
Oh yeah.
What, 2 CDs now, or?
I've got one with my big band, and then I did do like a recording with the UW band of my arrangements. So yeah, we're working on. We had another one scheduled for June, but that unfortunately has been postponed, and rightly so. And so, ready for the next one.
Yeah. I don't know if a lot of people know of some of your other things that you do besides play piano well and compose. You're a golfer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so give us a little background on that.
Yeah. So yeah, let me see. I grew up in a town of about 1,200 people in Kansas, Chapman, Kansas. My parents were vocal music teachers. My dad was a pretty happy piano player, and my mom was a good piano player too. So I learned piano from them, starting pretty early, I think right before I was 4. Wow. But, you know, as you can both relate, I don't know if you had class, but I had my parents in class a little. That was always tough. And so I actually quit playing piano at like, I don't know, my sophomore year, because I was way into sports. I was always playing basketball and really fell in love with golf in middle school. And so I ended up going to Fort Hays State, which is a Division II school in Western Kansas, on a golf scholarship.
Wow.
But I was always kind of around piano. I mean, it was at my house, you know, and my senior year, I kind of picked it up a little. No jazz. This was all classical. So at Fort, but I like, for example, I don't know if you remember the movie Ghostbusters, but there's a scene where they're in the firehouse and they ring the bell, and that whatever music is going behind, it's kind of like a blues. And my brother and I picked this out on the piano, and that was like, it was pretty exciting. I know most people say oh man, I listened to this killing record. I'm talking about Ghostbusters, but anyway, that's how it happened.
Whatever it takes, man.
So like I could kind of play some blues. I didn't know what I was playing, but so I was around music in college, and I played in the jazz band there. But kind of midway through my junior year, first of all, I switched majors a bunch, but I finally decided that I really needed to be around music. And so they didn't have jazz there in terms of a degree. And so I got a classical piano degree. And that was good to get some technique, but also to learn how to practice.
Yeah. 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 And I don't know about you, but like I also switched around majors, and I remember like finding the music department, and being like, oh, these are my people. Like I get these people and they get me, you know?
So right. You're so right. Yeah.
Well, just to do the golf thing one more time.
Have you ever played with Pete? Did you guys ever play?
I played seriously as
He's
a
good.
kid through high school, and then just, life and it got to be expensive and kids and so I went back out with Will last summer just for one time, par, birdie, and then it went downhill from there. But I'd love to play around with you, maybe get Will in there too. And
Man, that would be great. I feel like I'm kind of like you said about life. Like 2 summers ago, I think I played twice, and then last summer, Will Swindler and I had a goal to play a bunch, and I played way more than I did. We didn't quite make our goal, but yeah, hopefully more this summer. So I'm down, man. I'll come down. You got great courses down by you, so.
yeah,
I bet they're cheaper up there though. You should just go up there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think a lot of people know that you're quite handy around the house. I mean, I always see these projects that you're doing. Did you have experience growing up, or did you just kind of dive in there and start doing it?
My dad was pretty handy, but man, I would be lying if I said I paid attention. I didn't want anything to do with that, and I kind of feel like I wasted some great opportunity to learn some stuff. But we got this house here in Laramie, and I was like, well, I'll just do the basement, and Dad helped me, gave me a lesson on how to wire stuff, and I did that. I didn't mess with the plumbing, but I mean, like I tell a lot of people, if I ever do it again, I'll be pretty good at it. But that's I like to jump in and try things and make myself uncomfortable, and I feel like I come out better on the other side.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's great. Yeah, well, I commend you because I was going to do our basement and just like, nah, I punted.
I'm so glad.
So
Yeah. Well, Claire, for you to say that, like my wife maybe deserves the medal because it takes, like, what do they say, twice as long and costs 3 times as much or something. So
We have a history in our past of, that measure twice, cut once. We have a history of like, don't measure and cut many, many times and then piece it together. I mean, I'm not kidding. So,
which is really weird because my dad was an engineer and he could build anything, fix anything. And I was like, oh man, I was probably saying where I wasn't paying attention enough,
yeah.
Oh, Dad will just do that. But well, do you have some projects are coming up? I know the big band thing's on hold. Do you have any other recordings or anything that's kind of out there in the future?
Yeah, I'm really excited about something. I just finished it up with Colin Bricker. I think everybody during this time is going through something that is very different from everyone else, but equally as difficult. And I think for me, the first couple of weeks of this, it was really difficult to, to stay positive and to, like try to put something good out into the world and try to work on something that I thought was meaningful. And so I got this idea I saw someone else do it on YouTube, and I thought, we could do this. But I said, let's do a big band recording, like one tune, everybody in their homes, and a video and everything. And let's have the whole purpose of it be to raise money for artists in need. And I just got the video back this weekend from Colin, and it's fantastic. And so we're going to be launching that along with some help from some other entities, probably tonight or tomorrow.
Good.
That's great.
So yeah, I'm from Wyoming, and so I'm gonna. One of the sites is to help out artists in Wyoming, and then another is a more general thing because I got we all got friends all over the place, and it's artistrelief.com. It's one of the I said .com. I don't know if that's it's one of the sites that's listed on the Dazzle website. It's probably the most far-reaching. Just in some folks who I talk to that I think could help artists everywhere. And so we want to make sure that we do that.
That's great.
That's great. And just a little kudos for the Muse Performance Space. We're helping with the money side of things. I set up the PayPal account. And so when people contribute, since we're a nonprofit, so
we're partnering with Dazzle on
yeah,
that.
So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I felt really honored to work with him on that. So I can't wait to see what you did with the video.
Thank you both for that. I'm serious. Like you see some of these things and you just want to make sure that it gets into the folks' hands who need it.
Yeah,
we're just taking it all, and we're gonna probably just buy another car.
That electric VW bus.
I really want an electric VW bus. No, we're really kidding. Like we even these Muse Talks, we're really not getting anything for the Muse out of these. This is all going to musicians. So we'll talk to you afterwards about how much you need. But do you want to play another tune?
Sure. I'm going to play a tune this time by Benny Carter, When Lights Are Low.
Yeah, man.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Hey, I'm going to do a little advertisement here.
Oh, all right.
So I bought this book and I just realized, with all my other books, and I just was, as you were playing, I was like, wow, this has so much great stuff in it. Can you just give a real short version of, like, you studied with David Hazeltine in New York, and um, how you learned to play jazz?
Yeah, I mean, so when I moved to New York, like I had I had some things together, but I like for me like a lot of the principles of like bebop and stuff like that I really learned there. And David was just great because he's such a wonderful teacher, but I just the way he thinks made so much sense to me. And so this book is his method that I tried to write down to the best of my understanding, and with his input, of course. But kind of the crux of it is, as a jazz musician, we transcribe solos and we learn them, and the whole point is that you try to get at the essence of what this person is about, in term and you almost try to get how they think and
Totally.
how they connect lines. And obviously, we never know how someone thinks, but I think if you do enough solos of somebody, you can kind of identify some tendencies. And ultimately, I think when you do something like that, it helps guide how I think or how you think, or choose to make choices when you improvise, I guess.
Totally. Yeah. That was Dave Liebman's thing too. I studied with him in, I don't know, 84, 83. I don't, but his thing was like, you just get into that person's playing. And he said, you'll never sound just like them. So don't worry about it.
Right on. Yeah, that's so true. It's so true. I mean, I took a couple, like, for me, a couple of guys who I did that with. One was like Phineas Newborn Jr., and I took a bunch of his solos. Like I say a bunch, like 4 or 5, and I played them, almost every day for a year. Like I have a tape or a like a MP3 recording, and I just put it on and play with it. And yeah, I mean, I'm never going to sound like him, but I think, like, I could probably tell you some things that he did that when he's playing, that's like, yeah, I think he might do that.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, I think that's a really, like, the process of self-discovery is, like, it's really powerful.
You're sort of programming your body too to play at that level, I think. And I do that with students. Well, I don't play saxophone anymore, but when I did, I would have them practice little fragments of something and make it as fast as they could get it, an easy fragment, so that their body was programmed to be able to play at that speed, but on something easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that whole thing of going through somebody's solo and just feeling what it feels like to play at that level is valuable for your brain and your body.
Totally.
Ben, when I post this video, I'll put links to your website and how people can get your music and etc. Is there anything you want to leave the listeners with? Words of encouragement, wisdom?
Well, Pete, you mentioned about link to my website, and when so part of something that I can do. I mean, I feel really fortunate that I still have a job at this, with the university at this point. So, in addition to this video that I'm putting out to try to raise money, I'm going to donate 100% of any album sales from my website to these two causes that I'm publicizing. Not physical copies. I'm trying to honor the social distancing. They're all MP3s, but I'm going to get that up on my website today. But yeah, I think in a great interview series like this, I'm preaching to the choir. But if you have a chance to help an artist, buy their music directly from them, or skip the middleman, skip the streaming services, skip all of that stuff, and Yeah, that's what I guess that's what I'm trying to do. I just want to support my brothers and sisters who are having a tough time. So,
That's
That's
great.
great. Ben, can I ask
Yeah.
you one more thing?
yeah, sure.
Um, do you think we're going to come out of this and just be back to normal, or do you think this is going to be permanently changing the landscape of how we operate as musicians or even listeners?
Um, I think that there are a faction of people who think we're just going to go back to normal, and I don't believe that that's realistic. Um, the longer I think this goes on, um, performance spaces and restaurants and stuff, I think are going to have a harder time coming back. But man, this music is too great to go away, and I don't believe that it's going to go away. It might look a little different, but um, there's still a lot of great music, jazz music to be played and listened to and heard, and we're gonna come out of it. But it might look a little different, but look, we've been doing this a long time, and we all could do something else that would possibly make more money. But at the end of the day, it makes us feel better, and I think so. Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
So that's great words to hear, and for everybody, for us too, you know.
Thanks,
Well,
Ben.
thanks, Ben. Thank you so much for your time.
And we will definitely direct people to the website.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Bye-bye.